Okay, so welcome to Chapter 13, where we're going to be talking about any information specific to each gear lock. I suspect these kinds of things are going to change over time or be enhanced. So this is just not going to be complete. And in fact, I may forget a couple things, but I'm at least going to try to hit upon the most important things. Patches. In the case of Patches, his innate skill allows him to heal at the beginning of each turn in battle. I think you may have probably seen that when we were doing our battle video earlier. But let's kind of fix this here. So let's go to day 3. Okay, we got 12 baddie points. Let's just very quickly set up the battle map. I have the dice sound turned off. And let me kind of escape through all this and just throw some baddies on the battle map. Okay, so Patches, right now, if I click on, he happens to be on the top of the initiative meter, so if it's Patches' turn, you see I didn't get a message, and that's simply because his health is at max. But if he came into his turn with his health at 6, and let's say I now click on his initiative die, or I click on new round 2. Now it says if this is the start of Patch's turn, he may heal himself for 1 HP. That message arose simply because his initiative die got clicked. If you inadvertently, during the same round, click on his initiative die, you're going to see the message, but you obviously know whether or not he truly is allowed to heal himself for 1 HP. And I think that's all I have to say about Patches. Let's switch over to Boomer. Boomer, of course, has his innate dice. I talked about that. And the fact that the boom counter is a counter. And anytime you have a counter, you can right-click to increase the counter or left-click to decrease the counter. And you can control left-click to get the normal pop-up to come up that would allow you to jump to any value you want. Otherwise, I think I've already talked about, how you bring skill dice into. You double-click a skill die if you want to roll it. So if Boomer, for example, on his first turn wanted to roll with his 3 dexterity, wanted to roll all 3 of his boom-making devices or items, he could roll those. I guess I can turn the sound back on now. And so we got a 2, 2, and a bone. Well, let's see if we can get a better roll. All right, we got a 2, 3, and a 1. I'll take that. So, for example, all of these come up to lock slots. And now this would allow him to increase his boom counter by 1. So I'm going to right-click on the fuse to get rid of it. That exhausts it. I am going to control left-click on the casing and bring it down to 2. Control left-click on the element and bring it down to 1. And now I'm allowed to increase the boom counter by 1. If in a future turn, let's say Boomer was able to enable his frag, and he decided to roll his frag, let's say with maybe 2 attack dice, and this is now a subsequent turn. He rolls his frag. You're going to get a reminder to decrease your boom counter because you are rolling one of your boom-related skills. So in that case, you would left-click and then apply whatever damage you normally would have to apply based on the results. And I think that's really all there is to say about Boomer. Okay. Let's switch over to Pickett. So Pickett has, first of all, you've already seen the reminder that at the start of battle, he gets to roll his defense. And by the way, I should point out, too, that all the innate +1 skills are part of the program as well. So if a Gearloc has achieved innate +1, then you will either see a reminder or some effect will happen automatically by the program to account for the fact that the innate +1 skill is actually in place. All right. So Pickett also has several regen capabilities. So, for example, his stand ground has a plus a regen basically for ongoing healing, uh, and that allows him to, like patches at the start of every one of his turn, Pickett can heal himself for 1 HP. So, for example, let's say we put that at the top of into a lock slot. Now, in shield form, he has constant damage. Let's say we put that into a lock slot. So that, I'm sorry, constant defense. Looked like I got a little confused there. So constant defense, which allows him to reduce any non-true damage that's dealt to him by 1. And then finally, he's got this sword advance, which that's the constant damage, which increases his attack by 1. So, in that case, you're going to get the kinds of reminders you would expect to get. Now the constant regen is at the start of his turn. So, for instance, Pickett, I'm going to mark him down to 6 HP, click his initiative die, and we get the reminder like patches that says he can heal himself thanks to constant regen. In the event that Pickett takes a hit on his HP, we're going to get a reminder that he's got constant defense. I wonder if I hit Control left click, I wonder if my program distinguishes between true damage. It actually doesn't. So you get the reminder anyway. I probably should not include that reminder when you hit Control left click on Pickett's HP. Furthermore, when it's Pickett's turn and his initiative die is highlighted, and he is rolling at least one attack die here. So as long as he gets a positive result on one of his attack dice, he is going to get. We're going to get this reminder that Pickett has constant damage. I think you've already seen a lot of what we're doing for Tantrum with regard to his rage, but let's bring in the rest of his rage dice. So let's say that he's got that rage, and let's say he's got that rage. So if it is, let's say it is this baddie's turn on the in the battle, and he is well. Actually, let's say it's this guy's turn because he's nope, wrong guy. Sorry, purple. This guy is attacking Tantrum. He's rolling 2 attack dice. So we got 3 against Tantrum. So 1, 2, 3, and we get a reminder to increase Tantrum's rage by 0.2 for every HP he loses for any reason. So he gets 1, 2, 3 upticks on his rage die. Let's say it is now a different round, and the same baddie is attacking Tantrum, and this time he gets 2 more. 1, 2. So now Tantrum is in a breakdown mode. So Tantrum has until the end of his turn to do something about that, either through use of his backup plan or through use of anger management if he had it. If he couldn't reduce that by the end of his turn, so let me go to Tantrum's initiative die, and now I switch away from him. We get a message that says Tantrum's rage has been reset to 1 because he was experiencing a breakdown as of the end of his turn. On the other hand, if it is Tantrum's turn and we go ahead and increase his, well, it's Tantrum's turn, we get a reminder that we get a reminder to make sure that he only should be able to increase his rage by 1 for every time he attacks. This is just to guard against you getting mixed up between his gaining rage due to losing HP, which he can get for multiple times in a turn, as opposed to only 1 gain in rage when it's his turn and he's attacking somebody. So I'm just going to ignore those errors, those messages rather. But if I go to 1.8, and now it's his turn, so if I right-click again, it automatically moves me to his next rage die. So the program will automatically handle whether or not Tantrum should increase up to the max of his current rage die, or whether he should switch rage dice, depending upon whether or not it's his turn. So if I continue, and yeah, we'll just ignore that message, and now I go again. Now we're into his third rage die, and of course we can't go any farther than 4.0. If I keep right-clicking, it's just gonna stop. And of course, if we did that on his second tier rage die, this rage die, and he hadn't yet enabled this rage die, of course it would stop when we maxed out on this. It actually it works going backwards too. So if, for instance, for any reason you're reducing his rage, you can actually reduce back to the previous rage die, and you can just keep going, and so forth and so on. And of course, all the messages stop once he's exhausted an appropriate rage die. I think, is that pretty much all there is to say about Tantrum? Of course, if he has his innate +1, he will not experience a breakdown. You won't see that message. If you need to exhaust his rage die, it requires a control right-click as opposed to just a regular right-click, obviously. And his rage die does get loaded at the beginning of every battle. I think that's pretty clear. And I think that pretty much covers Tantrum. Okay, so let's start a new game. Let's bring in the rest of our crew. So let's bring in Nugget and Gilly and Tink. Okay. So Nugget, the only built-in reminder that I can recall for Nugget is her lucky die. So yeah, let's enable Wildborn and now enable Lucky. And if we set up a battle, yeah, okay, so there we're seeing a preview of Gilly. So we're gonna come back to all this. But this is what I wanted to see. Don't forget to set Nugget's lucky skill die. So we're just prior to starting the battle. At this point, you can set your lucky skill die to whatever value you want it to be. Say we wanted say we wanted lucky extra damage, and then we have to put this into a lock slot. And is there a reminder? Yeah, I think there is a reminder for that. So if Nugget was rolling 2 attack dice, let's make it 1. Increase your chance of not getting a bone. Yeah, okay, so Nugget rolled all non-bones for her lucky skill. So you could then take it from there. So that's pretty much Nugget. Gilly, as you saw, got prompted to scout before the beginning of the battle. So let's start a new battle and just do that again. So I'm going to set up another battle mat here. And before anything happens, Gilly can now perform a free scout of a 1, 5, or 20. Let's say he wanted to scout for a 5-point baddie. You click on 5. You see what he scouted. You again have the choice of yes or no. Do you want to keep it on top or move it to the bottom? And you go on from there. So let's escape through all this and put these guys down. I probably should have killed 2 birds with 1 stone here. Let's go on to Gilly and give him some traps. So let's give him all of his traps. All right, so once again, we're going to set up the battle mat. Now that he's got his 3 traps, first we get the reminder about his scouting. So we'll say he scouts a stone golem. He's going to move that to the bottom of the deck. Okay, and now Gilly may place his traps on the battle mat. Traps cannot be placed once the battle begins. And then you click OK when you're ready to proceed with the battle, the OK button being over there. So what you're going to probably want to do at this point is view the baddie stacks to get a reminder about what you have coming up. So we have, let's see, it's round one, and we're doing 4 batty points. So unfortunately, we're not even going to see. I think it was set to 4 batty points, so we're not even going to see. So we don't know what's coming up actually. So I'm going to take a chance here and put his rusted spikes there. So you can see I'm simply dragging one of his skills onto the battle mat, just like any other skill. I'm going to put his woven snare here, and let's put his hidden rut here. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now I'll click OK. And we got lucky, so a cobalt green thumb sprung that trap, and we got lucky again. Great. The dire wolf pup sprung that trap. And again, I'm going to escape past all this, and we'll place our Gearlocs. Okay. And there was the reminder about Nugget's lucky skill again. And don't forget to resolve the 2 sprung traps. So the rules say that I think you can resolve the traps in any order. So let's say we were going to resolve this. Let's move this guy out of the way, actually, and let's say we're going to resolve this trap. So we can double click this die right on the batty chip and roll it to get the result we want to see. That's not the result I actually want to see. Okay, so we got a 1, which means that I think he just suffers 1 true damage. So we'll give him 1 damage, and at that point you have to exhaust this die, and then move the batty left or right, if possible, to an empty space. So I'm going to right-click now on the effect. That's going to exhaust it back to Gilly's player mat, and I'm going to drag this batty over to here. Similarly, I will double-click now here to resolve this one. This is the one that adjusts the attack stat. So we got a -2 attack mod. So I'm going to double-click this batty chip. I'm going to put a -2 in the attack mod for that batty. And now I'm going to right-click on this die to exhaust it. And it's now been exhausted along with the other one. If on this batty's turn he decides to fall into this trap, the trap turns into an effect that populates his chip. You then execute it. You double-click it if necessary. You resolve it, and then you exhaust it. Okay, so that, I think, pretty much summarizes Gilly. Oh, no, we have to talk about his companions. All right, so let's get this guy out of the way, and let's get this guy out of the way, and let's have Gilly, let's make it his turn, and let's give him his falcon, his tiger, and his wolverine. So let's say, well, we didn't need to bring all of them, but let's say we bring his tiger down to roll. He's got 3 dexterity, so maybe he, let's say he's attacking the Griffin yearling. So he's rolling 2 attack dice and his tiger. Oh, I got bones. Yeah, do it again. Oh my gosh, come on. Give me a better result. I don't know, I'm getting prompted there with 2 prompts. I really only want to be prompted with 1. I have to, that's a bug as well. I have to just make a note of that. There we go. Okay, so we got 2 hits, so I'm going to give 2 damage against this. Who was I attacking? I wasn't attacking the Cobalt Green Thumb. I was attacking the yearling. So we'll kill the yearling, and we'll position the tiger. He can be anywhere that is orthogonally or diagonally adjacent to Gilly. So if I put him over here, for instance, I'm going to get a reminder that it needs to be placed in a more appropriate spot. So if I Let's exhaust that die, bring it back down into the roll area, and ignore all those messages. And now I will drag the tiger over to an appropriate spot, and I don't get the warning any longer. Now the tiger, on the next round, the tiger would be allowed to move, and it moves before it's Gilly's turn. So let's say the tiger now moves up here, and he gets an automatic 2 damage against an adjacent baddie. So this guy's hardy, so he only takes 1 damage. But now when it's the Cobalt Green Thumb's turn, he's going to roll to attack Nugget. He attacks the strongest guy. Let's reduce Nugget's health to 2. So now if I click on the initiative die for that guy, he is going to actually roll and attack the tiger over here to his left. So he rolls his attack. Got 1 damage, and 1 damage goes against the tiger. We get a reminder that the tiger has the lashback skill. So the Cobalt Green Thumb takes 1 damage and is now killed, defeated, and removed from the battle mat. And on a subsequent turn, the tiger can move again. I think he can move up to 2 spaces. Yeah, move up to 2 positions and then deal 2 damage to an adjacent unit. He's got lashback. All the other pets of Gilly have their skills and recorded, so you will get appropriate reminders. The health is all automatic, and the rest is up to you. And that's pretty much it. If I come back to Gilly for a moment, and let's say we just bring up this Falcon here. I've got to make it Gilly's turn. So there's his Falcon, and now we can bring his Falcon on, and it pretty much all works the same way. All right, Tink. Tink is a little different. Let's give him his build 2. Oh yeah, give him Spiderbot 2 and his build 2 dice. Now number 1, these 2 skill dice are interchangeable. So I can, if I want to work with the build 2 skill die, I can click and drag it on top of the build 1.0, and they'll switch places, and they'll remember that they occupy these new positions on Tink's battle mat. So now we've got this. I can double click on this build die. Let's give them a couple of skills over here. I can double click here to roll. So we've rolled this. Obviously, I could now would now want to rotate this skill. So I can hold down Control and Shift. So this is a Control Shift right or left click is going to rotate this die. So Control Shift right click rotates it 90 degrees clockwise, while Control Shift left click rotates it 90 degrees counterclockwise. And you can just rotate them all the way around if you want. Just point him the way he needs to be pointed. And then when it's time to bring out his bot, now normally when you're actually playing with the game, the bots get prepared in the prep area. But since you probably know by now, the prep area is pretty much occupied by lots of other things. There's no room on the prep area in my program to manage that. So all you have to do is just simply prep your bot right on the battle mat. So now if let's say in the prep, I'm planning to bring out Spiderbot 2. And I want to give him an extra battery charge. So let's bring his battery up to 3. Now if you, oh, sorry, okay, there we go. So I had Gilly selected. See the importance of selecting your Gearloc before doing anything. Okay, now I've got Tink selected. All right, so let's bring this back down to 2 where it was. So now, if I bring this up to 3, you'll see his dex has been reduced from 4 to 3. If I now bring the bot onto the battle mat, his dex is now down to 2. I can easily bring these skills because my build die is pointing left and right, so I can bring these 2 skills, drag them right onto that space on the battle mat. So now we have a die with 2 dice on top of it. Normally, when you're doing all this, once you build the bot, I believe you immediately exhaust the build die. So I'm going to right-click on his build die and exhaust it. And okay, and I think that's pretty much it. So this works the same way, double-clicking these, roll the dice if you need to, so you don't have to drag them into the roll area. And I wonder, does that... And that actually does spend dex when you roll those dice. So if I try to do it again, I'm going to get an error message that he's out of dex. Yeah. Similarly, moving the bots around, if I try to move this bot up here, I'm going to say he doesn't have the dexterity to do it. I can say yes, move it anyway, and now the bot has been repositioned. All that is pretty much working the way you would expect it to. When a battle is over and it gets reset, everything is truly reset. So all the dice come back. The skill 15 die comes back to where it was prior, but it's now rotated into its normal position. His bots are restored. But when you start a new battle, that's when the actual reset occurs. So if I start another battle, and we go through all this, and whatever, and escape through all this, and put some guys on, just throw them on the battle mat. If I come back to Gilly, okay, so you can see all of his companions are back where they were, and if you come back to Tink, you see that all of his bots are back to their starting battery power. So all of that is reset. The only thing that won't get changed from game to game until you decide to change it is the positioning of this skill die. So if I want to put this back into the 15 slot, I can simply click and drag it and drop it, and then the 6 and the 15 will switch places. By the way, don't think that you can drag that die on top of something else and hope to switch places with a different skill die. It only works for Tink and only for his 2 builds of his bot build skill. Okay, talked about rotating, rolling, swapping build dice, creating bots, moving them around, dexterity. I think we've covered pretty much everything I needed to cover, so that ends this chapter. And we have one more to go, the catch-all, be-all, where I sort of talk about everything I haven't talked about yet, and just sort of put it all at the end. So thanks for watching, everybody. One more video, you'll be all set to play Too Many Bones on your Windows PC. Thanks so much. Bye.